As we always say, the best thing you offer the guest, it's not the food, it's not the hospitality. The people of knowledge always, the best thing, if you want to honor them and do something good, you can come and join them and benefit from their knowledge. So they're coming all the way from states, not to try and taste the Albertan or Canadian beef. They are coming all the way here to benefit the community and inshallah to share with us our concerns about Jerusalem, about Palestine. And having said so, at the beginning we thought the question is going to be only limited to the topic which they spoke about, but the Mashaykh, they're saying feel free to ask any question, inshallah. If you have a question, you raise your hand and we'll call your name. If you want to come closer to me here, it's okay. If you feel your sound is mashallah loud, you can talk from your place. It's also okay. And to be fair as well with the sisters, because always the brothers, they take the share of the lion, as they say, Nasib al-Asad. And most of the time the sisters, they are forgotten. Inshallah, as I said from the beginning, sisters, if you have any question, you can send it. Come Bilal, please. Do you have the guts to go to the sisters section there? Are you brave enough? That's good. You go upstairs. If they have any question written on a paper, you bring it to us. Okay? جزاك. You are the delivery man now. جزاك الله خيرا. طيب على بركة الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Who wants to go first? You? What's your question? Stand up, please. What's your question? You don't have a question? Type. You are wasting our time, Zakaria. May Allah forgive you. No, brother.
Seems totally hidden there, like he's not really as Christian anymore. And at this point, he didn't meet some boys, he meet some Jews and so on. Well, I just feel like he's like that like last time.
You can use this one, Sheikh.
The thing is, like, I try to bring to the mosque, it comes like he comes here. So like, what sort of advice do you look at last time?
So it's a good question. I'll repeat the question so everybody can hear it, also for online. The question I was asking that in giving da'wah to a Christian acquaintance, the person has been accepting the da'wah, he no longer calls himself Christian, and he's coming, getting close to it, and he's coming close to Islam, he's attended the masjid a few times. What is the final push to try to get somebody across that finish line, right? So it's different for different people, but what I would advise is something like, if there's, like, for example, right now you have these beautiful speakers here, maybe invite them. Behind your friends, your because sometimes, when it's your friend giving you da'wah, you accept some of it, but then you're kind of like, that's him, me, like we can continue with that good conversation. But someone from the outside can put a little pressure and then the person kind of opens up. So, take advantage of these kind of situations where you have du'at, you can sit them down, and maybe they can take that final push. If not, also just tell your friend, look, do you believe what I'm saying is correct? And if you do, you never know when life is going to end. Like, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So if you believe something, profess it. Otherwise, you might die, and you die knowing the truth but not accepting it. Give that nasiha, inshallah, and then keep going with that. That will take calm down. Don't get the dirty and don't be in a rush. Keep going.
Who's next? Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Uthman. By the way, we have Sheikh Uthman, we have Sheikh Ibrahim, Sheikh Karim, Sheikh Kamal. Just for you to know the name if you want to call. Naam, brother.
I wanted to get married, I want to have kids, I want to do all that. But as you see all the kids
sure if I tried hard enough, I could find someone that knew was somebody that could. Right. So, at what point do you say? Is it for the people of like Palestine, or is it our own personal gain? When do you know is it the right time to go there?
So the question the brother asked was, as we mentioned, what's going on in Palestine, and everyone knows what's happening there, and we see everything happening, and we feel helpless, and we know about what Islam teaches about, fighting and jihad and whatnot. At what point, does a Muslim, when he sees all this, does he say, it's time for me to go myself and, help our brothers and sisters? And so the answer to that is basically, we can say right from the very get-go that those who are there on the front lines, they themselves are saying we don't need weapons or people, right? They need our support in other ways. And of course, if it was possible to go, then Islam does encourage us to do so. But realistically speaking, it's not really possible for anyone to go and help physically being present and whatnot. But there are other ways that we can support, and this is one of those ways, by educating the ummah and basically raising awareness of the reality of what's going on there, and not to forget also a dua, which is the weapon of the believer. Relief. Yeah. Mhm. No, basically, what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, taught us is that each one of us has a role to play in the ummah, and we have to make sure that we are fulfilling that role. And so Allah Azza wa Jal has given us different capabilities, different skills, and that includes defending and standing up for our brothers and sisters. Perhaps you have that ability. You have certain skills related to relief organizations and helping and whatnot that I may not have, or I have a different skill that you may not have. So we have to look for our skills and then use them, utilize them to the max, and in that way we're all doing our part. And that's the main thing, that there is a hadith, it's disputed its authenticity, that basically every single one of us is standing on one of the basically the frontiers or the borders of Islam, and we shouldn't allow our enemy to come through our side. So we have to ask ourselves, what have we, each one of us, what have I done to fulfill my role in defending Islam and the Muslims, right? Because each one of us has our own capacity. I have knowledge, so I'm going to use that to play that role. You may have a different skill set, right? So we have to look for that, and we're not saying no one should go and help relief and in other ways, but do you have that skill? Do you have that ability, right? If you do have that ability and you refrain from going, then yes, what you asked, does come into play, and Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khairan. We have a question from the sisters. I don't know which Sheikh will take this question. The sister saying Zionists turn Shia against Sunni, vice versa. Shouldn't we now unite with peace, seeing that Shia are sacrificing their lives for Sunni? You have the right to answer the question or not, I don't know.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. One of the most devastating element of this conflict is the confusion which creates, especially for the brothers and the sisters who lack the knowledge of the belief system of a Muslim. Here you are, you got the Sunni world backing off from helping the brothers and sisters in Gaza in particular for their own reason, without exploring these reasons, but they have their own reservations regarding aiding and backing off the organization there. And at the same time, you got the people whom the questioner is referring to is aiding them. According to what we see, that's what we see. Now, the invitation here is here they are sacrificing their themselves and their resources to help a Sunni group. Why not then compromise the cursing of the Sahaba? Why not compromise the elements of Tawheed, like attributing divinity to human, like their imams? The answer is no. There is no such a thing. Nobody can say that. Listen, during war or during the conflict, it is permissible for a Muslim to seek the aid of a non-Muslim if the non-Muslim is going to help him against a non-Muslim. The brothers and sisters are fighting a non-Muslim force. If a non-Muslim can give you a hand without compromising your faith, without giving in to them, it is permissible. So there is nothing wrong with that. But this should not, at any price, come at the expense of the belief system of a Muslim. Shia Islam is devious when it comes to certain areas. And these areas happen to be the fundamentals of our faith. Number one, top of the list, is attributing, and a lot of Muslims, the brothers who are from the Sunni world, they don't realize that they actually have a creed regarding their imams, that they have some sort of divinity. Like Christians attribute divinity to Jesus or to their saints. That's similar to that. That's a red zone for a Muslim, that you approve of that. Secondly is Ashabul Nabi, the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know certain sects of them, Ithna Ashriya in particular, they have issues with the Sahaba. They label them to be kuffar. They have issue with our mother, Aisha radiallahu anha. They accuse her of wal-'iyadu billah, when the Quran declared clearly her innocence. We cannot, brothers and sisters in Islam, compromise our belief system because someone is offering us something. We still stand on our position, hoping that we can come to the aid and the help of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. So there is no need to have this conversation. Jazakumullah khairah. If any مشايخ want to add, I'm okay with that. Inshallah, barakallah feekum.
Jazakallah khairan. Is there anyone, Mashaykh, want to add anything? طيب, just to be fair, I want to pass one more question from the sisters. What books do you recommend for women, specifically after the Quran, of course? Again, the question, what books do you recommend for women, specifically after the Quran?
Because when it comes to books that are translated to English versus the Arabic books, this is something that requires being aware of what is being translated. But definitely, as mashallah, the questioner made it very clear after the Quran. Quran is the best source of everything. This is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to the objective of what is with regards to the books, is it learning the basic fundamentals of the deen? We should take the means to learn from someone that is trustworthy, using the book. Yes, this is the best combination. And if a person is not having these means, then it is to go through the basic books that ulama, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon them, would recommend. So something that is simple, something that is matters, for example, of Aqidah, like Usul al-Iman, the principles of al-Iman. If you want something contemporary, I would definitely suggest, the books of the major scholars, those who, especially those who passed away, like Sheikh ibn Baz, Sheikh al-Mu'athimi, Sheikh al-Albani, rahimahullah, and others, of course, those who are contemporary, the English books that Sheikh Karim, mashallah, books of Aqidah, and others, mashallah, this is something that you can read, and it's easy to understand. These types of things, and mashallah, if it's in Arabic, then the matter is also feasible, inshallah. But the basic, the foundation of the matters of Aqidah, the obligatory matters in Ibadah, like the Tahara, like the matters of prayers, and also when it comes to matters of Haram, we're living in a world where it's so much deceiving in many ways and things of that nature. So to make sure that we get authentic knowledge according to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. When it comes to the names of some of the fiqh books, again, it depends on how you're serious in studying. But one of the very easy books, contemporary, easy even for people to study, like the fiqh and muyassar by a group of the ulama. If someone wants to read something in simple, the person wants to go through serious studies of fiqh, then they will go through the normal way of studying mutul, but this requires to have a sheikh or a person of knowledge to study under. And the same thing with matters of the seerah, the books that purifying of the soul, the books of Ibn Qayyim, rahimahullah, and Sheikh Taymiyyah, if it's translated, all of that is good, inshallah.
Inshallah, before we go to the brothers, the sisters, they're asking the mashayikh, inshallah, if you just give some Arabic while you are answering the question. Some of them, they like to benefit from you, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. You have a question?
Yeah, speaking of books, what Quran translation do you recommend I can give to a non-Muslim English speaker?
Can you repeat the question, Sheikh?
I'll repeat the question. The question is, what Quran translation do we recommend for you to give to a non-Muslim? Alhamdulillah, there are many translations, and they all have their benefits and challenges and so on. Currently, with One Message Foundation, we use the Sahih International. Sahih International is a good, solid translation. It was translated by some reverts who understood the English language well, under the guidance of scholars. So I think for non-Muslims, that's what we use. Not that we're saying any other particular one is not as good or something, but that's one we use right now. There are like big volumes, but he has their own issues. They have high issues and so on. So Sahih International is good. For Muslims, I think the Mohsin Khan and Sheikh Hilali's translation is the best. It is definitely the most accurate in the light of evidences and so on. But it is a little difficult for non-Muslims because sometimes in translating words, they get like 2-3 words and something. So it's difficult to get the flow. So Sahih International.
That's available?
Yeah, it's available. You can Google it.
All of them?
No, just the first. Just Sheikh.
Try to use this one for the live stream is better. Not give me the other one, please.
رحمك الله.
We have one. Go ahead, he's from Calgary, the brother coming over.
MashaAllah. Allah bless you. Alaikum assalam.
This question comes from a revert. But I don't know what I'm asking this because it's revert 14 years old.
Okay.
It says, Assalamu alaikum, brother, I have a question. If I die right now while hiding my faith, will I have an Islamic janaza or not? So can you share this?
So the question is from a revert who's 14 years of age. And the question is that apparently they have not announced their Islam to the family. So if they die, would they have an Islamic janazah? So since the brother is a Muslim, yes, it is the haqq of that brother that we pray janazah on him. If he is, planning on speaking to his family, then I suggest that he does that. If he, for some reason, maybe he's under threat or so on, is not able to, he may want to write some kind of a document, sign it, and leave it with some of the brothers so that if he passes away, may Allah protect him, that they can go to the family, show it, and hopefully they will respect his wishes. If not, and because he's under 18, maybe the family will disagree, we would still pray janazah on him, even if we have to do it in ghaib, meaning even if we're not at the burial site, we do it in ghaib because it's the haqq of a Muslim that the Muslimun, we pray on him. So like Najashi, he kept his Islam secret for a long time. So when he passed away, the Prophet ﷺ prayed janazah on him in Medina, right? So yes, we would still pray on him, but I would suggest if he is willing to speak to the family, then he should speak to them. If not, make some kind of a, because 14 is not going to be a legal document, but some kind of a written document that he can sign and leave it with the brothers. So if something happens, they can take it to the family, inshallah. Akramakallah.
Brother, go ahead.
My question was about like remaining consistent in acts of like worship and in daily life. So is there any like advice from the Quran and Sunnah to like be procrastinating?
Actually, this question, can you repeat the question? Because we have a question from the sisters, I think, close to it. She's saying how to keep a strong faith.
Mine was about like consistency.
Consistency.
So the question is how to remain consistent in their amal, in their ibadah, and their worship, right?
And with a strong faith.
With the iman strong.
Basically, when it comes to remaining consistent, this is something the Prophet ﷺ actually advised. And he said that the best of a'mal are those that are consistent, even if they are small. And so sometimes we aim for big a'mal, but then we do it once and then we stop. But what Allah loves, the most beloved, ahabbul a'mal, the most beloved a'mal to Allah are those that are consistent. And so that's a very good question. How do we keep that consistency and that persistence throughout our lives? Basically, we need to constantly, remind ourselves that the end is near. And it doesn't make sense for me to put off something for tomorrow that I could easily do today, because tomorrow is not in my hands. It's not something I can guarantee for myself. So you need to always remind yourself of that putting it off for tomorrow, this is one of the traps of shaitan. Procrastination is one of the traps of shaitan that he uses to prevent people from doing good. And so you have no guarantee that you'll live until tomorrow. You have no guarantee that you'll live to an old age. And that's what most people, they tell themselves that, I'll be committed to Islam in my retirement. But what guarantee do you have that you'll live until then? And then what guarantee do you have that when that time does come, that Allah will give you that tawfiq? In the end of the day, it's all a matter of the tawfiq of Allah. That Allah, He guides certain people, He gives them that ability to do a'mal and to do good. And so we need to defeat this procrastination by reminding ourselves that life is short and we need to take advantage of whatever time we have in order to in order to achieve that goal. And the Prophet ﷺ, in many different ahadith, told us about visiting the graveyards, for example. What's the point of that? The point of that is to remind ourselves of what awaits us and how it's very soon. And what causes many people to procrastinate is them thinking that this is something very far. And this is something that you know, I could easily delay things until then. But who said that day is very far? It's much closer than we think. Allahu a'lam.
So, Sheikh Karim, if you, so the question is that there are a lot of sects amongst the Muslims in the West, and some of them are splitting into aligning with the left or aligning with the right, like politically. And why don't we come together upon the Sharia and not align with these different political parties? For example, he gave the example that some Muslims are aligning with the LGBTQ for political reason. So why shouldn't we be together, right? Yeah, why should we be on the right, like Democrats or Republican, when both of them don't align with Islam?
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Let me address this through a statement which authentically attributed to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu. He said, اعرف الحق تعرف أهله. Learn what the truth is. With the worship of the 5 righteous people of the people of Nuh, Waddan wa Suwa'an wa Yaghuth wa Ya'uq wa Nasra. That divided the ummah. That divided that one single family, and consequently Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Nuh alayhi salam to bring the people back to the source. All these, right, wrong, or all that stuff, there is no such a thing aligning with LBGT. What do you mean a Muslim aligning with LBGT? I mean, I'm still going to call him a Muslim? I mean, give me a break. I mean, what was the sin of the wife of Prophet Lut alayhi salam? What was her sin? No, she didn't have that resolute position that her husband had. She was maybe. Dare you assume that she was engaged in that act of wickedness? ما فعلت هذا امرأة نبي أبدا. Never a wife of a prophet would do something like that. But she was willing to accommodate. It's okay. You see, there is a position, ya ikhwa, is the being determined. This is right or this is wrong. You see, what they want you to do is to move from that domain to that domain of being indecisive. Maybe should let, you know, so a Muslim entertaining the entire concept of I mean, and you want to unite with this person? Unite on what foundation? Unite on what? فunity is on the truth. اعرف الحق تعرف أهله. فإن الرجال يعرفون بالحق ولا يعرف الحق بالرجال. The truth identifies the right people, not the people identifying the truth. We have to change that position, even if we're few. It's never about numbers in Islam. It's never about money. It's never about that. It's about the quality of faith and the purity of Tawheed. Hopefully the message is clear. Barakallahu feekum.
I think we only have 10 minutes not even for the share prayer. And we have here some questions from the sisters. And the first one, the sister is saying, I have a property and gold, but I have kids which are not good with me. So I decided to do the will to build a small masjid. Is this haram to do to my kids?
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. To answer this question very briefly, when it comes to the will, it's only a person is entitled to only 1/3 of one's wealth. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَالثُّلُث كَثِير or kabir. And 1/3 is too much. And that's why Ibn Abbas and others, they would say 1/5 is good if you want to write something in your will. And this is the wasiyah. When it comes to the mirath, when it comes to the inheritance, a person should leave it according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And therefore, to answer this question for the sister, leave the matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to write a portion of your wealth, like 1/5 or up to 1/3, to a good cause that you want to have it afterwards, mashallah, it's good. And as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أن تدع ورثتك أغنياء خير وأحب من أن تدعهم فقراء يتكففون أو عالة على الناس. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, that you would leave your family, your dependencies rich after you die is better for you than to leave them poor going after the money of people. So leave the matter to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide them and comfort your eyes with their goodness, inshallah, in your lifetime. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them, inshallah.
Both sides. So if any of you guys need as to which view you hold, and on the other side too, are the other views valid, and so on and so forth.
So the question is about Forex, currency trading, right? Let me explain what I understand of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, and then I will, inshallah, do my best with the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you an answer. Basically, you are somewhat betting on a currency or a stock or whatever going down, and if it goes down, you gain somehow, and if it goes up, then you lose. Kind of simplified, right? I'm not either, but I have spoken to specialists, and in simple terms, that's what it is, right? I'm sorry? Yeah, so both ways, you can bet on it going up. Yeah. But I mean, so you could predict that it's going to go up and then you would make money, or you could predict on it going down and then you would lose money, right? Right. But in essence, you're not investing, right? Meaning, see, when you buy stocks in a company, you become a shareholder. If you have enough stocks, you can actually make decisions in the company. If the company performs well, also the external factors, you make money. If the company does not do well, you lose money. In Forex trading, you could actually predict it losing money and make money off that, right? So then you are betting pretty much. I understand. Look, even gambling is not blind. Like a gambler, how is one gambler better than the other? If it's pure, as in the West they would say luck, then how do we have professional gamblers? Because there is skill to it. Reading somebody's face, card counting. I can tell you many other skills that I don't think we need to get into. But the point is, I do understand Forex requires some research and things, but you're making money off a currency or a government or not government, currency or a stock or something going down. So you're kind of making a prediction, and if your prediction hits, then you make money, which is pretty much gambling, right? Unlike stocks, right? Unlike investing like if I invested in currency, let's say I bought the US dollar or the Canadian dollar or the British pound, I'm not making money off it going down. The only way I make money is if that does well, and then in exchange with the currency. So you're kind of investing, right? In stocks, same thing. Property, you could lose money, right? It's not that you couldn't. But other than Forex trading, I don't know anything that where you predict something going down and you make money off it, right? And again, it's even if you're researching, your profit is not based on performance. On your performance is based, like for example, if I see that Tesla is going to go down, and I make that Forex trade, and then for Tesla goes down, now their performance went down, I made money, right? So then it comes pretty gambling-ish, I don't see an evidence to justify it as an investment, which would be halal. To invest would be halal. All I see is, and I've known people who have done it, and they've lost tons of money, and I know others that have gained money, which is pretty gambling-ish as well, right? Even like a Bitcoin is different. The Bitcoin, even though it has its own ambiguity, you're still investing in something that you can buy with, sell with, and the only way you could make money off it is if it does well. People value it, right? You can't make money off losing. Like if Bitcoin goes down, you don't make money, right? Forex is like strange. It's kind of where you're betting on, or you're predicting a loss and making money off of it, right? So having reviewed what I can, wallahu alam, and the Sheikh can correct me, I do not see it as permissible. And I've discussed this with Sheikh as well, like the whole Forex scenario. Yes, that is not a business model. It's really more a prediction model than, because you're not, like, again, with stocks, you're investing. Bonds, you're investing, but bonds sometimes have riba. That's a different issue. If I buy US bonds, now again, they usually have riba, so that makes them haram. But if you take the riba aspect, for example, if you don't have riba and you're just buying them, then you're investing in a government pretty much. And if the government doesn't do well, your bond doesn't do well. You never buy bonds and the government doesn't do well and you make money off of it, right? Same thing is with any investment. Why stocks are in essence halal? Because you're pretty much coming into a partnership with the business, right? If I own Apple stock, just example, right? Then if Apple's product by itself is not haram, then I'm becoming a partner with Apple. Now again, if I own enough, I can even go to board meetings and make decisions, which I will never, but right? But in Forex trading, it's not like that. You're not actually becoming a part of a business deal. You are, through your intelligence and qadar or whatever else, you're making a prediction. And if your prediction comes true, even if it's a loss, you make money. And if your prediction fails, even though the performance of the company had nothing to do with it, you lose money, right? That's gambling, right? Wallahu alam. Sheikh, any? Sorry.
We have only 2 minutes for the Sheikh. I think we want to take one question. Unless the Sheikh, we want to give them time to go and rest because it's almost 11. I know you're enjoying the gathering. You can push the Sheikh and sit further. But I think the Sheikh, they want to go and take a rest.
We are all at your service, so you make the decision, inshallah. Sheikh Ali is our... Sorry.
MashaAllah, if any questions, I think that will be a reason to come tomorrow, inshallah.
Inshallah.
You know, we should keep some business for tomorrow. We answer all the questions today, we say, oh, no, tomorrow we have to show up. I'll take one question, who put his hand first. Who want to practice ifar? Give the priority to his Muslim brother to go the question.
Actually, he's not Muslim, so maybe give him preference. Yeah. Yes.
Would that be saying omnipresent? So he's everywhere, and you see as exactly like saying living in your
Good question. Let me introduce Brother Angel. Yesterday, right? Yesterday night, we went out for a place called Mocha. Great coffee, amazing. Plug for the brother. And he was there, and we had a really good conversation. And inshallah, he's researched the issue today, right? About Rashi. Inshallah, okay. So did you look up Rashi, though? Did Rashi said she was 3? You're ready to take your shahada, aren't you? All right. Okay, inshallah. So the question is about the hadith about shaitan staying in your nose. Does that mean that shaitan is at all places at all times? And I'm assuming he's referring to the hadith about shaitan, being in, when we do the ithar and stuff, which is majaz. Explain, yes. Do you want to? To understand a hadith, we have to understand the Arabic language, right? One of the problems with a lot of Islamophobes or other people online is they don't know the Arabic language, they don't know how the Arabic language works, and they assume that they do. So they look at a translation of a hadith and they go with it, right? But in reality, this is why we have books like Fath al-Bari, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, or Fath al-Bari of Ibn Rajab, or Ibn Mulaqqin, and many great scholars of the past, to one, explain the Arabic language, how they would use the language, right? For example, let me give you a good example. You speak Spanish, right? So if I said, tú in corazoni, like you are in my heart, right? In corazon, right? Corazon, right? Now in Spanish, you would say that, right? Does that mean that you are literally inside my heart? No, right? What is it? This in Arabic is called majaz, right? It is an example that is used, right? For linguistic eloquence, which in Arabic is called balagha, right? I'm getting to it. So in the Arabic language, you have the same thing. Now, there are some things that are haqiqi, like they are said the way they are, right? We're not saying that everything is taken as a metaphor, right? For example, if I say, that dude punched me in the face, that's pretty, he punched me, right? But I may also say, you not coming to my house when I invited you is as if you're slapping me in the face. You understand? But here, I don't mean physically slap. I mean that there is a linguistic tool that I'm using to convey how I'm offended. Okay? I'm laying this down because I want you to understand this, right? Shaitan, for example, the hadith that he's urinating in your ear, like if you don't wake up for the adhan and so on, or he's in the nose, or run through your blood, the majority of the scholars have explained that this is majaz. This is not that shaitan is physically present everywhere at all times, but rather, if you look at the rest of the hadith, it will have a reference, either to make istinthar, to wash out the nose, or to wake up for tahajjud, or wake up for fajr, or not to allow, like the hadith about shaitan goes through your body like blood, is not to allow the waswas, the whispering of shaitan to affect you. Meaning when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was going out with his wife Sawda, he saw some of the Sahaba, he told them, I am Muhammad, this is my wife. He said, of course, we know, no doubt. He said, I just wanted to clarify because they used to cover. I didn't want you guys to think maybe it's somebody else, because shaitan, he runs through you like the blood, right? Meaning the whispering of shaitan. So we as Muslims do not believe shaitan is omnipresent. Okay? Clear?
Good. Secondly, just because the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is sometimes to explain more, like the hadith about when they ask Rasulullah sallam about the eating from the making wudu with the water of the ocean, he explained tuhur ma'ahu, and then he said hillu maytatuhu, its dead is also halal. Is shaitan is also not just one. Iblis is one. All of the jinn that follow Iblis are shayateen. They are shaitan. So it's not just one shaitan either. So when you talk about everybody having a qareen and all of this, it doesn't mean the same jinn is present everywhere. You good? Sheikh, good? Jazakallah khair.
Well, brothers, on your behalf, I would like to thank all our beloved guest speakers and Sheikh, inshallah. Please, tomorrow, I will first bring a friend or two with you, inshallah. Let's have a special day tomorrow, Saturday. Time going to be between 6:30 after Asr and Maghrib, inshallah. Now, the brothers will have 4 lectures today. But if you want to see more crowd, we still have some questions from the sisters. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll answer the question with the letter. جزاكم الله خيرا. May Allah reward and bless all of you. Allahumma ameen. We need the brother to come and take